Welcome to the 2021 One Voice United National Medal of Honor. I want to thank you all for joining us on this solemn occasion. I also want to say how deeply grateful I am to all of those corrections unions, state and local agencies who came together and contributed to make this night possible. My name is Andy Potter, and I am the Executive Director for Michigan Corrections Organization. I'm also a veteran corrections officer who proudly served over 2 decades in the Michigan Department of Corrections. And in 2016, I founded One Voice United so we could build a national unified voice for corrections officers and other frontline staff. A little over a year ago, COVID-19 started to work its way across our country, leaving a wake of devastation in its path. I think we all know someone who's been touched by its effects, and we know those who have seen this the closest are the essential frontline workers, regardless of what their profession is. I realize when most people think of essential workers, they're not thinking of correctional employees. Often, the men and women who do one of America's toughest jobs are overlooked. And although there is no debate about the devastation or loss of life of those who are incarcerated, tonight is about honoring the dedication and the bravery of those corrections officers and frontline staff that have succumbed to COVID-19 virus while serving in our nation's prisons and jails. To all of you who have lost a loved one to COVID-19, I offer my heartfelt condolences. Now, I'd like to introduce the National Medal of Honor Chairman, Ed Sullivan.
Thank you, Andy. Welcome to the National Medal of Honor Foundation Vigil ceremony, in which we're honoring the line of duty deaths of our correctional officers and staff from COVID-19. At this time, I'd like to recognize the National Medal of Honor committee members who made this event successful. From Nominations and Selection Committee, Eric Spear from New Jersey, Lisa Marie Fontano from Connecticut, Eddie Callahan from New York. On the Medal of Honor Committee, Rob Brulette from Massachusetts, Steve Curran from Connecticut, Fred Fonts from Maryland, Anthony Ganji from New Jersey, Randy McKillen from Alaska, Brett Onstadt from Minnesota, Jack Rosser from Washington, D.C., Mike Simpson from Massachusetts, and Dale Wardroff from Maryland. And from One Voice United, Javi Carrillo Klein, Corey Post, Jeremy Tripp, Simon Greer, and Brent Kowitz. This foundation was founded by active and retired correctional officers for the purpose of recognizing the hidden heroes in corrections on a national level. We honor these men and women who protect the public at the local, county, state, and federal level. Correctional staff share a common bond, a bond that has caused all of us to witness, observe, interact, and continually train in a dangerous profession. This profession in which the general public really has no understanding and in most cases chooses to ignore. Corrections is a noble profession. We all understand that some people will dislike us for what we represent. We don't take it personally, and we strive each day to survive in a volatile environment that is stressful and capable of hazardous lifestyles, both on and off duty. One of the universal objectives of the National Medal of Honor Foundation is to form partnerships, such as with One Voice United, so that we may have a seat at the table and demonstrate to policymakers and those of us working in corrections that we have something to offer. We must become a part of the process and offer our unique perspective. The corrections profession is not about locking up people and throwing away the key. We all understand that inmates, parolees, and prisoners will someday go back into society. We need to be an active part of the team making those kind of decisions and the future needs and mandates in the correctional field. At this time, I'd like to recognize the National Director of One Voice United, Brian Daw. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Sullivan. The One Voice United National Medal of Honor annually recognizes correctional officers for actions taken beyond the call of duty, or in the case of civilian staff, recognizes actions that have helped advance the mission of corrections or assisted in a particular incident. The events of this past year and the tremendous sacrifices correctional officers, staff, and their families have endured as a result are truly tragic. At no time in the history of our profession have so many acted so heroically, so unselfishly, for so long, and continue to persevere day after endless day. Unfortunately, over 250 of our brothers and sisters have paid the ultimate price. With that knowledge, the One Voice United National Medal of Honor leadership voted unanimously to posthumously award the Gold Medal of Honor to all officers who have died in the line of duty as a result of COVID-19, and to award the supervisors and staff awards to all those who likewise paid the ultimate price. This evening, we will be reading the names of all 259 officers and staff who we have lost. We also ask that you keep in your thoughts the thousands of officers who have recovered from COVID-19, yet still suffer from lingering effects, which may continue. Tonight, we are honored by the presence of leaders and supporters of our profession who have agreed to join with us in the reading of the names of those we have lost. If there are any mispronunciations during these readings, please accept our apologies.
Correctional Officer Glenn Martinez, Guam Adult Correctional Facility, Guam Department of Corrections, Mangalao, Guam. End of watch, November 24th, 2020. Corporal William Potter, District of Columbia Department of Corrections, Washington, D.C. End of watch, January 19th, 2021. Senior Correctional Officer Charlene Phillips, Federal Correction Complex, Butner, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Butner, North Carolina. End of watch, June 2nd, 2020. Correctional Transportation Officer Damon Burton, Detroit Reentry Center, Michigan Department of Corrections, Detroit, Michigan. End of watch, March 31st, 2020. Senior Correctional Police Officer Nelson Perdomo, East Jersey State Prison, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Rahway, New Jersey. End of watch, April 9th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Jose Cates, North Kern State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Delano, California. End of watch, July 11th, 2020. Master Sergeant Henry Turner, Louisiana State Penitentiary, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Angola, Louisiana. End of watch, July 18th, 2020. Correctional Officer Jason Goen, Okaloosa County Jail, Okaloosa County Department of Corrections, Crestview, Florida. End of watch, January 1st, 2021. Deputy Warden Roger Hodge, Calhoun State Prison, Georgia Department of Corrections, Morgan, Georgia. End of watch, April 14th, 2020.
Chief Executive Assistant Mickey Bowen, DeKalb County Detention Center, DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, Fort Payne, Alabama, into watch October 27, 2020. Detention Deputy Glenda Maxwell, Etowah County Detention Center, Etowah County Sheriff's Department, Gadsden, Alabama, into watch November 8, 2020. Juvenile Detention Officer Stephen Chapman, Juvenile Probation Department, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Judicial Branch, Phoenix, Arizona, into watch March 30th, 2020. Detention Officer Kevin Fletcher, 4th Avenue Jail, Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, Phoenix, Arizona, into watch July 6th, 2020. Sergeant Ernie Quintero, Court Security Division, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Phoenix, Arizona, into watch July 6th, 2020. Detention Officer Alvin Ramirez, Avondale Jail, Avondale Police Department, Avondale, Arizona, into watch June 7th, 2020. Correctional Sergeant C.N. Key Lee, Central California Women's Facility, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chowchilla, California, into watch August 2nd, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Michael Marin, Central California Women's Facility, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chowchilla, California, into watch July 6th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Danny Mendoza, California Rehabilitation Center, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Norco, California, into watch May 30th, 2020. Sergeant Gilbert Polanco, San Quentin State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, San Quentin, California, into watch August 9th, 2020. Supervising Registered Nurse 2, Alfred Lopez, California Institution for Women, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Corona, California, into watch January 26th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Henry Sanchez, Sentinel State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Imperial, California, into watch July 24th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Joseph J. Lloyd, Sentinel State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Imperial, California, into watch January 7th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Ronald Mickens, California Institute for Women, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chino, California, into watch July 30th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer George Solis, California State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Lancaster, California, into watch December 25th, 2020. Correctional Peace Officer Martin Munoz, Kern Valley State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Delano, California, into watch January 1, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Ralph Valentine, California Healthcare Facility, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Stockton, California, into watch January 10th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Jerome Pickett, Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, San Diego, California, into watch January 11th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Ferdinand Arise, Valley State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chowchilla, California, into watch January 11th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Ernesto Medina, Correctional Training Facility, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Soledad, California, end of watch January 15th, 2021.
Correctional Peace Officer Jose Anonas, California Institute for Men, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chino, California. End of watch January 17th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Renato Benitez Sanchez, California Institute for Men, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Chino, California. End of watch January 17th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer David Islas, Duell Vocational Institute, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Tracy, California. End of watch January 19th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer David Salinas, Kern Valley State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Delano, California. End of watch January 27th, 2021. Correctional Peace Officer Jose Saul Delgado. Calipatria State Prison, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Calipatria, California. End of watch, February 1st, 2021. Deputy Probation Officer Julio Beltran, Riverside County Probation Department, Riverside, California. End of watch, November 14th, 2020. Deputy Terrell Young, Quas M. Bird Detention Center, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, Murrieta, California. End of watch, April 2nd, 2020. Senior Detention Officer Erica McAdoo, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles, California. End of watch, July 3rd, 2020. Receptionist Maria Franco, Kern County Sheriff's Office, Bakersfield, California. End of watch, January 20th, 2021. Deputy Sheriff Jeffrey Hopkins, El Paso County Criminal Justice Center, El Paso County Sheriff's Office, Colorado Springs, Colorado. End of watch, April 1st, 2020. District Youth Rehabilitation Services Officer Kenneth Moore, District of Columbia, Department of Youth Rehabilitative Services, Washington, D.C. End of watch, April 1st, 2020. Sergeant Adeniran Thamanu, District of Columbia, Department of Corrections, Washington, D.C. End of watch, February 15th, 2021. Classification Administrator Teresa Capers, District of Columbia, Department of Corrections, Washington, D.C. End of watch, April 16th, 2020. Sergeant Shane Owens, Broward County Sheriff's Department, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. End of watch, March 27th, 2020. Community Services Supervisor Specialist Pamela Ford, Broward County Sheriff's Office, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. End of watch, September 4th, 2020. Deputy Sheriff Brian Faison, Gadsden County Correctional Complex, Gadsden County Sheriff's Department, Quincy, Florida. End of watch, January 2nd, 2021. Receptionist Severia Franklin, Gadsden County Correctional Complex, Gadsden County Sheriff's Office, Quincy, Florida. End of watch, August 23rd, 2020. Correctional Officer Jairo Antonio Bravo, Guilford Night Correctional Center, Miami-Dade Corrections and Rehabilitation Department, Miami, Florida. End of watch, July 30th, 2020. Correctional Officer Juan Yanes, Miami-Dade Corrections and Rehabilitation Department, Miami, Florida. End of watch, February 1st, 2021.
Master Detention Deputy Richard Berry, Lake County Detention Center, Lake County Sheriff's Department, Tavares, Florida. End of watch, July 16th, 2020. Master Detention Deputy Lynn Jones, Lake County Detention Center, Lake County Sheriff's Department, Tavares, Florida. End of watch, June 24th, 2020. Community Correctional Officer Asa Enoch, Orange County Corrections, Orange County Sheriff's Department, Orlando, Florida. End of watch, April 5th, 2020. Sergeant Jose Diaz Ayala, Main Detention Center, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, West Palm Beach, Florida. End of watch, April 4th, 2020. Deputy Sheriff Angela Chavez, Main Detention Center, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, West Palm Beach, Florida. End of watch, September 12th, 2020. Deputy Sheriff Maurice Ford, West Detention Center, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, Belle Glade, Florida. End of watch, August 27th, 2020. Detention Deputy Charles Pugh II, Santa Rosa County Jail, Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Department, Milton, Florida. End of watch, August 18th, 2020. Sergeant James LaRue, Seminole County Jail, Seminole County Sheriff's Department, Sanford, Florida. End of watch, November 21st, 2020. Sergeant Robert Rogers, Graceville Work Camp, Florida Department of Corrections, Graceville, Florida. End of watch, July 31st, 2020. Correctional Officer Johnny Brown III, Reception and Medical Center, Florida Department of Corrections, Lake Butler, Florida. End of watch, August 3rd, 2020. Correctional Officer Londell Woodbury, Reception and Medical Center, Florida Department of Corrections, Lake Butler, Florida. End of watch, September 17th, 2020. Correctional Officer Jack Stewart, Gulf Correctional Institution, Florida Department of Corrections, Wauwachika, Florida. End of watch, February 13th, 2021. Correctional Officer Joseph Foster, Florida Women's Reception Center, Florida Department of Corrections, Ocala, Florida. End of watch, August 3rd, 2020. Correctional Officer Ginger Eustace, Taylor Correctional Institution, Florida Department of Corrections, Perry, Florida. End of watch, September 8th, 2020. Chaplain Octavius Tukes, Madison Correctional Institution, Florida Department of Corrections, Madison, Florida. End of watch, December 17th, 2020. Food Services Director James Helferick, Sumter Correctional Institute, Florida Department of Corrections, Bushnell, Florida. End of watch, April 20th, 2020. Counselor Terrence Thompson Jr., Federal Correctional Complex, Coleman, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Sumterville, Florida. End of watch, August 30th, 2020. Correctional Officer Shannon Stovall, Federal Correctional Complex, Forest City, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Forest City, Arkansas. End of watch, August 21st, 2020. Senior Correctional Officer Patrick Farron, Federal Correctional Complex, Victorville, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Victorville, California. End of watch, December 31st, 2020. Senior Correctional Officer Rurik MacArthur, United States Penitentiary, Thompson, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Thompson, Illinois. End of watch, February 6th, 2021. Case Manager Robin Grubbs, United States Penitentiary, Atlanta, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Atlanta, Georgia. End of watch, April 14th, 2020.
Correctional Officer Anuchi S. Akandianwu II, Dodge State Prison, Georgia Department of Corrections, Chester, Georgia. End of watch, August 26, 2020. Sergeant Grace A. Bellamy, Wilcox State Prison, Georgia Department of Corrections, Abbeville, Georgia. End of watch, February 1st, 2021. Special Agent Wayne Douglas Snyder, Office of Professional Standards, Georgia Department of Corrections, Forsyth, Georgia. End of watch, January 23rd, 2021. Americans with Disabilities Act Coordinator Tamika Simpson Dumas, Office of Professional Standards, Georgia Department of Correction, Forsyth, Georgia. End of watch, January 29th, 2021. Correctional Officer Antoine Jones, Cook County Jail, Cook County Department of Corrections, Chicago, Illinois. End of watch, May 10th, 2020. Correctional Officer Jose Marquez, Cook County Jail, Cook County Department of Corrections, Chicago, Illinois. End of watch, June 28th, 2020. Deputy Sheriff Sheila Rivera, Cook County Jail, Cook County Department of Corrections, Chicago, Illinois. End of watch, April 19th, 2020. Correctional Officer Antoine Stewart, Cook County Jail, Cook County Department of Corrections, Chicago, Illinois. End of watch, April 19th, 2020. Correctional Officer Richard Santiago, Cook County Jail, Cook County Department of Corrections, Chicago, Illinois. End of watch, October 20th, 2020. Correctional Officer Francine Earls, Indiana Women's Prison, Indiana Department of Corrections, Indianapolis, Indiana. End of watch, April 25th, 2020. Correctional Officer Gary Winkie, Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, Indiana Department of Corrections, Carlisle, Indiana. End of watch, April 25th, 2020. Correctional Officer Sean Burnell, Putnamville Correctional Facility, Indiana Department of Corrections, Greencastle, Indiana. End of watch, October 18th, 2020. Correctional Officer James LaFollette, Plainfield Correctional Facility, Indiana Department of Corrections, Plainfield, Indiana. End of watch, April 21st, 2020. Correctional Recreational Leader Michael Hubler, Miami Correctional Facility, Indiana Department of Corrections, Bunker Hill, Indiana. End of watch, December 20th, 2020. Supervisor Fela Ababai, Lansing Correctional Facility, Kansas Department of Corrections, Lansing, Kansas. End of watch, May 12th, 2020. Supervisor George Robert, Lansing Correctional Facility, Kansas Department of Corrections, Lansing, Kansas. End of watch, May 11th, 2020. Correctional Officer Richard G. Rose II, Topeka Correctional Facility, Kansas Department of Corrections, Topeka, Kansas. End of watch, July 25th, 2020. Pre-release instructor David L. Warner, Winfield Correctional Facility, Kansas Department of Corrections, Winfield, Kansas. End of watch, March 18th, 2020. Corrections Unit Team Supervisor Gabe Morales, El Dorado Correctional Facility, Kansas Department of Corrections, El Dorado, Kansas. End of watch, December 22nd, 2020.
Correctional Officer David Riggle, North Point Training Center, Kentucky Department of Corrections, Danville, Kentucky. End of watch, December 19th, 2020. Lieutenant Gary P. Duplass Jr., Orleans Justice Center, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, New Orleans, Louisiana. End of watch, April 28th, 2020. Deputy Vanessa Mackey, Orleans Justice Center, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, New Orleans, Louisiana. End of watch, April 15th, 2020. Deputy Eric Frazier, Orleans Justice Center, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, New Orleans, Louisiana. End of watch, April 18th, 2020. Sergeant Rosa Thomas, Louisiana State Penitentiary, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Angola, Louisiana. End of watch, July 26th, 2020. Lieutenant Timothy Gordon, Louisiana State Penitentiary, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Angola, Louisiana. End of watch, March 28th, 2020. Warden Wilmot Sandy McCain, Raymond Laborde Correctional Center, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Cottonport, Louisiana. End of watch, April 20th, 2020. Medical Director, Dr. Casey McVeigh, Raymond Laborde Correctional Center, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Cottonport, Louisiana. End of watch, April 19th, 2020. Probation and Parole Officer, Caitlin Cowley, Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. End of watch, April 20th, 2020. Correctional Officer, Mark Rainier, Maryland Correctional Training Center, Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Hagerstown, Maryland. End of watch, January 21st, 2021. Correctional Sergeant, Karen Kennedy, Baltimore Central Booking, Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Baltimore, Maryland. End of watch, June 8th, 2020. Correctional Officer, Barthene Medaw, Baltimore Central Booking, Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Baltimore, Maryland. End of watch, September 28th, 2020. Correctional Maintenance Officer, Jimmy Williams, Baltimore City Correctional Center, Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Baltimore, Maryland. End of watch, January 14th, 2021. Correctional Officer, Gregory Richter, South Bay House of Corrections, Suffolk County Sheriff's Department, Boston, Massachusetts. End of watch, April 28th, 2020. Corporal Dean Savard, Wayne County Jail, Division 1, Wayne County Sheriff's Department, Detroit, Michigan. End of watch, April 3rd, 2020. Correctional Officer, Romero Mata, Bellamy Creek Correctional Facility, Michigan Department of Corrections, Ionia, Michigan. End of watch, January 9th, 2021. Correctional Officer, Randy Rumler, Gus Harrison Correctional Facility, Michigan Department of Corrections, Adrian, Michigan. End of watch, July 3rd, 2020. Correctional Officer, Marshall London Jr., Lincoln County Jail, Lincoln County Sheriff's Department, Brookhaven, Mississippi. End of watch, May 18th, 2020. Detention Officer, Dwight E. Willis, Greene County Jail, Greene County Sheriff's Department, Springfield, Missouri. End of watch, November 22nd, 2020. Correctional Officer, Richard Wright, Women's Eastern Reception Diagnostic and Correctional Center, Missouri Department of Corrections, Vidalia, Missouri. End of watch, November 19th, 2020.
Correctional Officer John Bowe, Missouri Eastern Correctional Center, Missouri Department of Corrections, Pacific, Missouri. End of watch, January 27th, 2021. Correctional Officer Justin Trimble, Tipton Correctional Facility, Missouri Department of Corrections, Tipton, Missouri. End of watch, October 20th, 2020. Correctional Officer Robert Bob Wiegers, Missouri Eastern Correctional Center, Missouri Department of Corrections, Pacific, Missouri. End of watch, December 8th, 2020. Correctional Police Officer Robert Bell, Burlington County Jail, Burlington County Department of Corrections, Mount Holly, New Jersey. End of watch, April 11th, 2020. Correctional Police Officer Louis Angelgar, Cumberland County Jail, Cumberland County Department of Corrections, Bridgeton, New Jersey, end of watch, January 22nd, 2021. Correctional Police Officer Zeb Craig Jr., Hudson County Correctional Center, Hudson County Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Kearney, New Jersey, end of watch, May 10th, 2020. Correctional Police Officer Bernard Waddle, Hudson County Correctional Center, Hudson County Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Kearney, New Jersey, end of watch, April 1st, 2020. Senior Correctional Police Officer Edward Jamandram, East Jersey State Prison, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Rahway, New Jersey, end of watch, January 15th, 2021. Senior Correctional Police Officer Vincent Butler, Southwood State Prison, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Bridgeton, New Jersey, end of watch, December 28th, 2020. Senior Correctional Police Officer Eric Whitaker, Southwood State Prison, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Bridgeton, New Jersey, end of watch, December 4th, 2020. Senior Correctional Police Officer Maria Gibbs, Central Reception and Assignment Facility, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Trenton, New Jersey, end of watch, April 22nd, 2020. Correctional Police Sergeant Philip Riley, Adult Diagnostic and Treatment Center, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Avenel, New Jersey, end of watch, February 5th, 2021. Nurse Daisy Duranilla, Hudson County Correctional Center, Hudson County Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Kearney, New Jersey, end of watch, April 5th, 2020. Nurse Susan Marie Sakala, Northern State Prison, New Jersey Department of Corrections, Newark, New Jersey, end of watch, April 4th, 2020. Investigator David Perez, in the Investigations Division, New York City Department of Corrections, New York, New York, end of watch, March 5th, 2020. Correctional Officer Maurice Lacey Jr., Queens Detention Complex, New York City Department of Corrections, Kew Gardens, New York, end of watch, April 20th, 2020. Investigator Sergeant Keith S. Allison, Personnel Investigations Bureau, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, Central Islip, New York, end of watch, December 17th, 2020. Correctional Officer Eli Galan, Brooklyn Detention Complex, New York City Department of Corrections, Brooklyn, New York, end of watch, April 2nd, 2020. Captain Charles Harris, Anna M. Cross Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York, end of watch, April 7th, 2020. Correctional Officer Connie Jones Hawkins, Robert N. Devoren Complex, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York, end of watch, April 6th, 2020. Correctional Officer Elvester McCoy, Anna M. Cross Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York, end of watch, April 6th, 2020. Thank you.
Correction Officer Quincy Simpson, Special Operations Division, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, March 27th, 2020. IT Support Hunter O'Kelly Rodriguez, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, March 29th, 2020. Rabbi Moshe Qualburn, Ministerial Service, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, April 1st, 2020. Maintenance Worker Franklin Rolando, Vernon C. Bain Correctional Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, Bronx, New York. End of watch, April 3rd, 2020. Chaplain Selwyn Gittins, Robert R. Devoren Complex, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, April 7th, 2020. Cook, Raul Marrero, Robert N. Devoren Complex, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, April 20th, 2020. Maintenance worker John Butner, Otis Bantam Correctional Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, April 25th, 2020. Correction Officer David Williams, Otis Bantam Correctional Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, May 12th, 2020. Correction Officer Trevor Butler, George R. Vierno Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, May 17th, 2020. Correction Officer Richard Kloss, Robert N. Devoren Complex, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, May 19th, 2020. Deputy Warden Rebecca Grayson, Otis Bantam Correctional Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, East Elmhurst, New York. End of watch, October 10th, 2020. Correction Officer Ashley Gillespie, Vernon C. Bain Correctional Center, Rikers Island, New York City Department of Corrections, Bronx, New York. End of watch, March 28th, 2021. Correctional Officer Stephanie Nesbitt, Queensboro Correctional Facility, New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, Long Island City, New York. End of watch, January 14th, 2021. Correction Officer Ronnie Goss, Sing Sing Correctional Facility, New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, Ossining, New York. End of watch, May 4th, 2020. Correctional Officer Inez Gonzalez, Edgecombe Residential Treatment Facility, New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision, New York, New York. End of watch, April 20th, 2020.
Senior Detention Officer Alexander Pettaway, Durham County Detention Facility, Durham County Sheriff's Department, Durham, North Carolina. End of watch, April 25th, 2020. Detention Officer Coretta Downing, Mecklenburg County Detention Center, Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Department, Charlotte, North Carolina. End of watch, August 12th, 2020. Correctional Officer 2 Charles Harris, Foothills Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Morganton, North Carolina. End of watch, October 29th, 2020. Correctional Sergeant 2 Michael Flagg, Piedmont Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Salisbury, North Carolina. End of watch, October 26th, 2020. Correctional Officer Christopher Sorrenti, Anson Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Polkton, North Carolina. End of watch, November 30th, 2020. Correctional Officer 2 Alan Trevette, Avery Mitchell Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Spruce Pine, North Carolina. End of watch, October 10th, 2020. Correctional Officer 2 Joseph Grenke, Pender Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Burgaw, North Carolina. End of watch, November 20th, 2020. Correctional Officer 3 Thomas Roberts, Tabor Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, West Tabor, North Carolina. End of watch November 16th, 2020. Associate Warden Julian Priest, Tabor Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, West Tabor, North Carolina. End of watch December 24th, 2020. Lieutenant 3 Anthony Hardy, Tabor Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, West Tabor, North Carolina. End of watch February 6th, 2021. Licensed Practical Nurse Gordon Iniji, Central Prison, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Raleigh, North Carolina. End of watch February 4th, 2021. Grounds Supervisor 1 Vincent Patton, Warren Correctional Institution, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Manson, North Carolina. End of watch February 2nd, 2021. Accounting Technician Kimberly Collier, Western Region, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Raleigh, North Carolina. End of watch January 22nd, 2021. Lead Nurse Barbara Stewart, Caswell Correctional Center, North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Blanche, North Carolina. End of watch May 7th, 2020. Correctional Officer Dwayne Gannon, Correctional Reception Center, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Orient, Ohio. End of watch May 18th, 2020. Correctional Officer Stephen Cook, Dayton Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Dayton, Ohio. End of watch November 25th, 2020. Correctional Officer Gloria Boyer, Franklin Medical Center, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Columbus, Ohio. End of watch February 4th, 2021. Correctional Officer Terry Loomis, Lake Erie Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Conneaut, Ohio. End of watch June 16th, 2020. Correctional Officer Jermaine Shelby, Lebanon Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Lebanon, Ohio. End of watch January 16th, 2021. Correctional Officer John Dawson, Marion Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Marion, Ohio. End of watch April 8th, 2020.
Correctional Officer David Keefe, Ohio State Penitentiary, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Youngstown, Ohio. End of watch December 16, 2020. Correctional Officer Mark Jones, Trumbull Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Leavesburg, Ohio. End of watch November 29, 2020. Correctional Officer Gregory Clark Jr., Cuyahoga County Correction Center, Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department, Cleveland, Ohio. End of watch July 7th, 2020. Youth Specialist Robert Burns, Indian River Juvenile Correctional Facility, Ohio Department of Youth Services, Massillon, Ohio. End of watch December 17th, 2020. Youth Specialist Philip Hill, Indian River Juvenile Correction Facility, Ohio Department of Youth Services, Massillon, Ohio. End of watch March 1st, 2021. Licensed Practical Nurse Tina Reeves, Pickaway Correctional Institution, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Orient, Ohio. End of watch April 27th, 2020. Nurse Bernard Atta, Correctional Reception Center, Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections, Orient, Ohio. End of watch May 17th, 2020. Correctional Officer Gary Dean, Lehigh County Jail, Lehigh County Sheriff Department, Allentown, Pennsylvania. End of watch January 19th, 2021. Sergeant Leeward McMillan, York County Prison, York, Pennsylvania. End of watch January 22nd, 2021. Correctional Officer 1, John Belichick, State Correctional Institution, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, Department of Corrections, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. End of watch, November 7th, 2020. Correctional Officer 1, Kyle Dixon, State Correctional Institution, Hawksdale County, Department of Correction, Hawksdale, Pennsylvania. End of watch, January 21, 2020. Correctional Officer 1, Timothy Breakine, State Correctional Institution, Fayette, Pennsylvania, Department of Correction, LaBelle, Pennsylvania. End of watch, December 13th, 2020. Lieutenant Russell Freeman, Gloria McDonald, Women's Facility, Adult Correctional Institution, Rhode Island, Department of Corrections, Cranston, Rhode Island. End of watch, December 14th, 2020. Correctional Deputy Jeremy D. Smith, Shelby County Jail, Shelby County Sheriff Department, Memphis, Tennessee. End of watch, April 21st, 2020. Captain Anthony T. Jackson, Sr., Shelby County Jail East, Shelby County Sheriff Department, Memphis, Tennessee. End of watch, December 25th, 2020. Unit Manager Jackie Rathers III, Morgan County Correctional Complex, Tennessee Department of Corrections, Wolfburg, Tennessee. End of watch, December 29th, 2020. Correctional Officer 3, Tracy Adams, Mark W. Stiles Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Beaumont, Texas. End of watch, March 16th, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Jesse Bolton, Eastham Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Lovelady, Texas. End of watch, May 8th, 2020. Paroled Officer Brenda LaFesso, Beaumont District Parole Office, Texas, Department of Criminal Justice, Beaumont, Texas. End of watch, January 15th, 2021. Correctional Officer 4, Taiwo Obele, Gregory Beto Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Tennessee Column, Texas. End of watch, February 16th, 2021.
Correctional Officer 5, Eric Johnson, James H. Byrd Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas. End of watch, July 27th, 2020. Correctional Officer 5, Elizabeth Jones, Carol S. Young Medical Facility, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Dickinson, Texas. End of watch, August 14th, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, LeBowith Bowell, H.H. Cofield Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Tennessee Colony, Texas. End of watch, August 11th, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, Vicki James, Choice Moore Transfer Facility, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Bonham, Texas. End of watch, February 10th, 2021. Correctional Officer 4, Maria Garcia, John B. Connolly Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Kennedy, Texas. End of watch, January 22nd, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Kenneth Harbin, Price Daniel Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Snyder, Texas. End of watch, July 4th, 2020. Correctional Officer Food Service Manager Roderick Rogers, Eastham Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Lovelady, Texas. End of watch, November 11th, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, Kevin Wilcher, W.J. Estelle Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas. End of watch, April 6, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, Godfrey Zuzi, W.J. Estelle Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas. End of watch, February 8th, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Philip Holbert, Formby State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Plainview, Texas. End of watch December 27th, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, Alfred Jimenez, Formby State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Plainview, Texas. End of watch January 15th, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Timothy Beggs, Hospital Galveston, Texas, Department of Criminal Justice, Galveston, Texas. End of watch December 9th, 2020. Correctional Officer 5, Luis Hernandez, Rufus H. Duncan Geriatric Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Diboll, Texas. End of watch March 31st, 2021. Sergeant Richard Hawley, Glen Ray Goodman Transfer Facility, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Jasper, Texas. End of watch August 4th, 2020. Lieutenant Treva Preston, J.W. Hamilton Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Bryan, Texas. End of watch January 15th, 2021. Sergeant Randall Sims, Thomas R. Havens Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Brownwood, Texas. End of watch January 3rd, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Thomas Ogenbyer, Hutchins State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Dallas, Texas. End of watch June 11th, 2020. Correctional Officer 4, Jackson Pongay, Pam Leichner State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Humble, Texas. End of watch August 18th, 2020. Correctional Officer 5, Jerry Esparza, Beaufort H. Jester 3 Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Richmond, Texas. End of watch July 5th, 2020. Correctional Officer 5, James Weston Jr., Clyde M. Johnston Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Winsboro, Texas. End of watch August 26, 2020.
Correctional Officer Harold Smith, Ruth Jordan Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Pampa, Texas. End of watch December 15th, 2020. Juvenile Correctional Officer Sean Wilson, Giddings State School, Texas Juvenile Justice Department, Giddings, Texas. End of watch June 28th, 2020. Correctional Officer Ruben Martinez, Ronaldo V. Lopez State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Edinburgh, Texas. End of watch July 26th, 2020. Correctional Officer James Coleman, John Middleton Transfer Facility, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Abilene, Texas. End of watch April 28th, 2020. Correctional Officer Joe Landon, John Munford Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Lubbock, Texas. End of watch December 28th, 2020. Correctional Officer Food Service Manager Donald Parker, Nathaniel J. Neal Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Amarillo, Texas. End of watch October 1st, 2020. Dr. Gary Wright, H. Caulfield, William R. Boyd, and Mark W. Michael Units, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Teague, Texas. End of watch July 27th, 2020. Developmental Disabilities Program Health Professional Barry Deckard, Jerry H. Hodge Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Rusk, Texas. End of watch November 15th, 2020. Industrial Specialist Charles Chacon, William G. McConnell Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Beeville, Texas. End of watch August 11th, 2020. Chaplain Gerald Bettison, Nathaniel J. Neal Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Amarillo, Texas. End of watch July 27th, 2020. Agricultural Specialist John Weir, Lewis C. Powledge Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Palestine, Texas, end of watch, January 1st, 2021. Human Resource Specialist Dorothy Kaler, TL Roach Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Childress, Texas, end of watch, December 17th, 2020. Maintenance Supervisor Michael Harper, Skyview Hodge Complex, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Rusk, Texas, end of watch, December 1st, 2020. Nurse Practitioner Robert Armstrong, Rogelio Sanchez State Jail, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, El Paso, Texas, end of watch, June 16th, 2020. Engineering Specialist Stacy Crosby, Facilities Headquarters, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas, end of watch, March 6th, 2021. Chaplain Walterio Rodriguez, Manuel A. Segovia Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Edinburgh, Texas, end of watch, August 13th, 2020. Maintenance Supervisor Kenneth Russell, Preston E. Smith Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, La Mesa, Texas, end of watch, December 2nd, 2020. Parole Clerk Rebecca Crow, Victoria District Parole Office, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Victoria, Texas, end of watch, January 1st, 2021. Administrative Assistant Sarah Keenum, CT Terrell Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Rocheron, Texas, end of watch, March 29th, 2021. Assistant Commissary Manager Sandra Rivera, Ruben M. Torres Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Hondo, Texas, end of watch, July 21st, 2020.
Analyst Joe Lange, Texas Board of Pardon and Parole, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Austin, Texas, end of watch, July 1st, 2020. Muslim Chaplain Akbar Jabez, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas, end of watch, April 23rd, 2020. Correctional Officer Coy Kaufman, Barry B. Telford Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, New Boston, Texas, end of watch, April 26th, 2020. Parole Officer Troy Morin, San Antonio 1, District Parole Office, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, San Antonio, Texas, end of watch, February 23rd, 2021. Correctional Officer 5, Herbert Garcia, Southern Regional Transportation Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Roshan, Texas, end of watch, August 18th, 2020. Correctional Officer Jonathan K. Goodman, William P. Clements Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Amarillo, Texas, end of watch, April 21st, 2020. Correctional Officer Jimmy Garcia, William P. Clements Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Amarillo, Texas, end of watch, April 15th, 2021. Correctional Officer Maria Mendez, Jonathan M. Wynn Unit, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Huntsville, Texas, end of watch, May 9th, 2020. Detention Deputy Timothy De La Fonte, Bexar County Adult Detention Center, Bexar County Sheriff's Department, San Antonio, Texas, end of watch, April 30th, 2020. Detention Deputy Jesse Zamaran, Bexar County Adult Detention Center, Bexar County Sheriff's Department, San Antonio, Texas, end of watch, January 22nd, 2021. Detention Deputy Jose Reyes, Cameron County Jail, Cameron County Sheriff's Department, Brownsville, Texas. End of watch, September 6, 2020. Detention Deputy Edward Cantu, Ruben Torres Detention Center, Number 1, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Ando, Texas. End of watch, July 21st, 2020. Detention Deputy Jose Quinlan Jr., Collin County Detention Center, Collin County Sheriff's Department, McKinney, Texas. End of watch, December 1st, 2020. Deputy Jeff Hopkins, El Paso County Jail, El Paso County Sheriff's Department, El Paso, Texas. End of watch, April 1st, 2020. Sergeant Raymond Skolowinski, Harris County Sheriff's Department, Houston, Texas. End of watch, May 6th, 2020. Deputy Juan Makacha Jr., Harris County Sheriff's Department, Houston, Texas. End of watch, June 13th, 2020. Deputy John Churches, Harris County Sheriff's Department, Houston, Texas. End of watch, November 2nd, 2020. Detention Officer Robert Perez, Harris County Sheriff's Department, Houston, Texas. End of watch, February 2nd, 2021. Correctional Officer Dudley Champ, Jefferson County Correctional Facility, Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, Beaumont, Texas. End of watch, August 10th, 2020. Correctional Officer Randy Gord, Midland County Jail, Midland County Sheriff's Department, Midland, Texas. End of watch, November 6th, 2020.
Corporal Charles Holt, Tarrant County Correctional Center, Tarrant County Sheriff's Department, Fort Worth, Texas. End of watch, September 9th, 2020. Security Corrections Specialist Jerry Jones, Tarrant County Correctional Center, Tarrant County Sheriff's Department, Fort Worth, Texas. End of watch, December 23rd, 2020. Lieutenant Craig King, Tarrant County Correctional Center, Tarrant County Sheriff's Department, Fort Worth, Texas. End of watch, December 19th, 2020. Correctional Officer Susan Roberts, Williamson County Jail, Williamson County Sheriff's Department, Georgetown, Texas. End of watch, September 12th, 2020. Master Jail Officer Robert Sunikin, Hampton Roads Regional Jail, Virginia Department of Corrections, Portsmouth, Virginia. End of watch, September 24th, 2020. Warden Earl Barksdale, Baskerville Correction Center, Virginia Department of Corrections, Baskerville, Virginia. End of watch, September 9th, 2020. Correctional Officer Corey L. DeShazo, Patrick Henry Correctional Unit number 28, Virginia Department of Corrections, Ridgeway, Virginia. End of watch, February 17th, 2021. Power Plant Operator Randy W. Woods, Environmental Services Unit, Augusta Correctional Center, Virginia Department of Corrections, Craigsville, Virginia. End of watch, January 16th, 2021. Electrician Supervisor David G. Nestor, River North Correctional Center, Virginia Department of Corrections, Independence, Virginia. End of watch, December 22nd, 2020. Correctional Officer David Christensen, Stafford Creek Correction Center, Washington State Department of Corrections, Aberdeen, Washington. End of watch, December 29th, 2020. Correctional Officer Beresford Morse, Monroe Correctional Complex, Washington State Corrections, Monroe, Washington. End of watch, May 17th, 2020. Correctional Officer Daniel Glenn Oakes, Yakima County Jail, Yakima County Department of Corrections, Yakima, Washington. End of watch, August 1st, 2020. Corporal Mark Rustemeyer, St. Mary's Correctional Center and Jail, West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation, St. Mary's, West Virginia. End of watch, January 2nd, 2021. Lieutenant Delmar Dean, North Central Regional Jail and Correctional Facility, West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Greenwood, West Virginia. End of watch, February 13th, 2021.
As we hear the names of more than 200 corrections officers and staff members who died in the line of duty in jails and prisons throughout this country, we know from our religious traditions that each life is precious in God's eyes. Each person with their hopes and aspirations, their loved ones, their journeys, their hopes and dreams, their fears, every person's heart is precious in God's eyes. And so this is an enormous loss, and we are here to pray for their memory, and we're here to pray for comfort for all their loved ones. I'd like to begin with a poem by the Israeli poet of the 20th century by the name of Zelda. Each of us has a name given by God and given by our parents. Each of us has a name given by our stature and our smile and given by what we wear. Each of us has a name given by the mountains and given by our walls. Each of us has a name given by the stars and given by our neighbors. Each of us has a name given by our sins and given by our longing. Each of us has a name given by our enemies and given by our love. Each of us has a name given by our celebrations and given by our work. Each of us has a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. Each of us has a name given by the sea and given by our death. I turn now to the Reverend Kay Carpin.
Thank you, really. That's a beautiful poem and so important to remember and to think about not only the large number of people who have sacrificed their lives in a job that's always has its hazards, always has its dangers, but in this past year of COVID-19, those dangers are especially pronounced for these dear ones that we remember and love this day. I would like to offer a few words of scripture. First part of Psalm 139. And there the writer of the psalm says, "O Lord, you have searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search my path and my lying down. You are acquainted with all of my ways. Where could I go from your spirit? Or where could I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. And if I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there, your hand shall lead me. Your right hand will hold me fast." And then as we think of each of these dear ones, remembering their lives and memorializing them in this important way, here is the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for the sake of his name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Amen. Amen. I want to offer this prayer from our Christian tradition. We call it the Lord's Prayer because it's a prayer that Jesus taught in this time here around us, a person we look to as the one who taught us to love the way God loves us. And he asked his friends and followers to pray like this when they came to him and said, Jesus, what do we do? How do we pray? We don't know how to pray. And as it says in the book of Romans, we don't know how to pray, but the Spirit intercedes for us with sighs too deep for words. And Jesus said, at those times when you don't have words, just try this one. He said, Our God, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Amen.
I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight and honoring those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. We ask that you keep those who we've lost in your thoughts and prayers, as well as those who continue to serve in our nation's prisons and jails. I hope all of you are able to stay safe and healthy during these challenging times. Thank you and good night.